math behind ZK snarks and the implementation of that math, which makes the Zcash shielded transactions possible. Shielded meaning actually encrypting the P2P transactions to keep the privacy of sender and receiver. Unlike majority of the cryptocurrencies out there, which are completely transparent, making them censorship and surveillance magnets. So Zcash differentiates itself being totally shielded with the shielded transaction usage. Zcash was launched in 2016 after a ton of R&D and as a fork of Bitcoin that kept the same 4-year halving cycle and the issuance model of 21 million coins. With the addition of the first shielded pool called Sprout. At that time, it took several minutes to compute and send a shielded transaction. Then in 2018, the sapling shielded pool was launched with a trusted setup ceremony that had several improvements, notably the short time required to generate a shielded transaction, making it possible for users to make Z2Z transactions on iPhone and Android devices. Finally, this year, we saw the first trustless setup pool called Orchard, which enables a whole bunch of improvements, notably for end users, not relying on trusted setup to create the shielded pool. So we finally have trustless, decentralized, privacy-preserving, freedom money that everyone is invited to use. So next, let's look at a live Z2Z transaction in action. If you still haven't tried a shielded transaction, I would highly recommend you to try it yourself because nothing beats experiencing your first peer-to-peer transaction in action that does not reveal any of your recipients or your information to the public or any bad actors. So this is something most new users expect by default when using cryptocurrencies, but it is not the case for majority of the transparent chains out there. And there's a lot of education and effort required to make that a default going forward if we want to keep the dream of peer-to-peer cash alive without being censored. All right, so workshop time. I do want to give a demo of the Nighthawk Wallets redesign that our team has done. So we were funded last year by the development fund. We brought together a team of developers and designers, and we put in all these effort to redesign our application. Do you see the app, Paku? Okay. So this is our home screen by default. Sometimes the user might just open the application by mistake, and we wanted to make sure that they don't reveal their balances to anyone. So we made sure to keep it hidden, and only when the user swipes, they can see their balances. So this is the amount of ZEC they have as their total balance. That may include their transparent and shielded ZEC. You can view the same balance in your currency of choice. You can swipe right to see the shielded balance. Currently, we're only supporting sapling shielded pool. We are going to work to add support for the NU5 and Orchard pool in the coming months. And this is the transparent balance. So if the user has transparent balance, you'll see a button on the right that says shield funds, because you need to shield your funds before you can spend it. We don't allow users to spend their transparent ZEC to third parties because that leaks information. Next, we can see the transaction list screen. So here are a bunch of transactions I've made in the past few days. I can select one of them from last night when I split a bill and asked my friend to pay me back in ZEC. So you can see a nice receipt over here on the top, a memo. The user can send me any message in the memo field, and which is only visible by the sender and receiver. No one else gets to know on the blockchain about this message. The time when it was sent, the network is mainnet, block ID, the number of confirmations it's had, and the transaction ID. The recipient address, it says shielded and it's unknown because it's not public. So we want to show on this screen all the information that may be public in the below receipt. So if we want to see the same information on the Explorer, we can tap View on Explorer. That links you to a Zcash Block Explorer. This is a site also made by my team. We maintain a monthly warrant canary on this, and we're going to be soon releasing transparency reports for this. There is no login turned on for this server. So as you see, this transaction ID over here, number of confirmations, transaction type is shielded, and there's some other transaction related information. The transfer from shielded pool. So even though the amount sent was 0.31 ZEC, as you see in the bottom here, the public only sees the amount of fees that's paid to the miners to mine this transaction. So that's the standard fee in Zcash today, 0.401. And there's an option to view the raw transaction if someone wants to review the actual details of the proofs. And here you see the most magical part, which is sender unknown, receiver unknown. It could have been anyone who used this transaction, but just because I'm revealing it to you now, you can see that maybe I was the one who sent that or received the transaction. I can show a bit more on the Explorer here. If we scroll down, it shows recent transactions, and we can see some of them are coin-based transactions for the miners mining the block reward. There's shielded transactions, there's public transactions. Maybe let's look at a public transaction, how it's different from a shielded one. So this is just a recent transaction. I don't have any idea about it, who might have sent it. So it's just like a Bitcoin transaction where you know the sender and receiver's addresses. Maybe some problem with the internet. Or we could check a transaction from the mempool. Yeah, maybe there's an issue with the internet. So we can go back to the application now. I can go over the rest of the app. So this is the transaction list screen. Next, we have a transfer screen. So here we try to simplify it into a send flow or a receive flow. So if we go to the receive money flow, it'll ask you whether you want to view your QR code, or you want to copy your private address, which is your shielded address, or you want to top up your wallet, or if you want to copy your transparent address. So if you want to show your QR code to someone, tap over here, and then we have a card view, so anyone could scan this code, a transparent address. We will also add an option to easily buy ZEC, so users can tap on top up your wallet, and then we are working to add more and more partners who have Zcash selling support. So you can buy Zcash's credit card, swap with SideShift or Celtex. This makes it easy for you to convert your other coins into Zcash. In the send flow, you can see your total spendable balance. This is all the ZEC you have shielded that is ready to be spent. You might choose to enter an amount in dollars if you want to send just dollars, so 10 USD. You can paste an address to send to. Maybe I should copy an address I have already sent ZEC to. Not this one, maybe this one. Okay, I'll tap on the address here, it'll copy the address. Let's try to make a transaction. Paste the address. You could also scan a payment URI. So if you have a payment URI that includes a memo, amount, and the address, it'll take you to the confirmation screen directly. But I have the address on the clipboard here, so I'm going to paste it, tap continue, and then type a memo like, thanks for the beer. Okay, continue. And again, this is the feature where I could choose to include my reply to address. It's only if I tap this, it's going to include my sender shielded address. If I do not tap it, the receiver of this transaction will not even know that who sent it for sure. Like I can claim I sent it, because I knew the memo, but it will not include my shielded address as part of the memo. So for now, I'm not going to include it. And then I can confirm what transaction is going to be sent. It's around 10 USD based on CoinGecko prices, 0.12 ZEC. It's on mainnet. You can confirm the address. And let's try sending this. So now it's computing the zero knowledge proofs, all the math magic. All right, and it's sent. So I can go back to my transaction history. On the top, we see pending confirmation because it might be hanging in the mempool for now. So I can scroll down, tap on the Explorer. So it says 0 confirmations, shielded transaction, sent and from amount, addresses are hidden. So that's the beauty of Zcash that attracted me to it initially, and I still can't let go of it. I don't get the same experience in other cryptocurrencies till date. I do want to look at a transparent transaction though, or maybe let's look at a shielding transaction. So, okay, so a shielding transaction is when you move funds from a transparent address to a shielded address. So this is something you can use when you withdraw your ZEC from exchanges. You can withdraw it to your transparent address first, and then shield it. So once you shield it, only you know where you send the money. No one else knows. We'll have an open Q&A later so we can go in detail regarding the different types of transactions we have. So that's the send flow there. And I sent it to myself, so it's saying me I'm expecting this much ZEC, okay? So I can go to settings. So we have revamped the settings screen as well. We have a local notification that allows the user to remind themselves to open the wallet and sync it once in a while. This is a temporary measure because we are using some older algorithms to do all local scanning of transactions. We'll have an updated transaction scanning mechanism. Strat is working on it. Everyone's eyes are on him right now. So then we might not need this feature for you to open the app and sync it and scan it every few days or hours. You have an option of fiat currencies to choose your favorite currency, or just turn it off if you don't want to even make that service call to get the dollar or fiat amounts. In the security area, we can set face IDs, touch IDs, and a PIN code for sending transactions or opening the app as well. Backup wallet reveals your seed words. There's a rescan wallet to debug any issues you might be having locally. Changing your Light Wallet D server. So you can change the backend of the app to something, maybe you can run your own Light Wallet D server. That way you control the privacy aspects of when you connect to the servers for getting your transactions information. And this is something new we added, external services. We recently just added support for unstoppable domains. That way, if you want to send your ZEC to someone, you can just send it to their domain, like Geffen said he has one, geffen.eth or something like that. And if he has set his Zcash address, there is no need to ask his Zcash address for sending him ZEC or money. Just type geffen.zec in your send flow and it'll resolve to his Zcash address. We'll be adding more external service integrations here, and we'll make sure to keep it all optional. So we want to keep the Zcash ethos of consent and opt-in. So only if users want to opt into third-party services, then we plan to add those features. Then we have a simple about screen here with all the licensing info. We want to make sure we rely on all the compatible open licenses. That is pretty much it for the wallet app. Next, let's open it up for any Q&A and feedback or ideas, what you would like to see in your shielded wallet. Paco, you want to?
There are no questions on Discord so far.
Okay. Sure.
And don't forget to repeat it. What standard
Thank you. So the question is, what standard are we using for the QR code, especially for the payment URI, when we add the memo? So this is a standard that Zcash came up with. There's a zip for it, which defines exactly how the format has to be set. So it starts with Zcash, the address, the amounts, and the memo, and
Very
it's
good.
base 64.
I'll dig for it. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, guess we don't have any questions today, so that's good. We have a very smart audience. Oh, there's one more.
Not a question either. Just kind of, I remember trying to buy water with today back in Japan, and it was not a supported country, and it took me a very long time to figure that one out. I didn't know like what was the best way to onboard onto whichever protocol happened to be either there's one more way. And it was quite later I found out that Japan had a set of regulated exchanges that you can use, but like unfortunately EDC is not one. And so like my suggestion is that like if it's like geared towards American or like English speaking countries, it makes sense to like okay, we pay for like another side shift AI. Maybe there are supported in the States, but if we're really thinking like scaling globally, for now just say these services are supported in the following countries, and just make it clear that maybe it is not available.
Understood. So the suggestion is around clarifying regulatory information, and if a third-party service that is integrated, defining which countries are supported, because not every service is working in every other country. I mean, we do have dialog boxes, like for example, if I try to top up my wallet here with MoonPay, we give a quick short message to the user that we are not supporting US residents. But I agree, there's a lot of effort there to keep the list updated of all the countries supporting what regulations. I'm sure there's a room for that. Maybe there could be a shared wiki which keeps track of such things. But the idea about onboarding, right? So that's, of course, going to be a tricky one. For most users today, whichever cryptocurrency is legal in their jurisdiction, you can obtain that. And then, I don't know what the legality of it, but some users use VPN and use SideShift and other services. So I cannot officially recommend it, but that's something we have seen users do to try it out. But yes, there are regulatory efforts. I learned yesterday from Josh Sweehart's talk about how ECC is working on clarity on that front. So ZEC should be supported. Guess we're all done, son. Thank you so much.